Hey everyone, I'm here with Rob Daviau from Restoration Games, who you guys are doing pretty well over the past couple of years. Got a lot of big hits year after year.
Yeah, it surprises people. This is only our third Gen Con where we're selling.
Right.
So our whole goal was to try to be a 5-year company in year 2 or 3. I feel like we kind of done that.
So you're almost done? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, we're done. I'm retiring.
Okay.
It's been good. Now it's here.
Yeah, just recently this year fulfilled Fireball Island.
Mostly that was last year. Into this year. It was on retail this year, but we do have a new
correct.
Fireball Island expansion coming out called Spider Springs.
Okay.
And it's a plastic peninsula that attaches to the island, and it has a spring-loaded trampoline, sort of launcher with little plastic spiders on it that go up in the air, and these spiders end up going all over the island, and then they end up on players' character cards, and you can put the spiders through Volcar, and he sort of emits them through his mouth, and they go all over the island. It's delightful.
Dan, did anybody ever try and launch it from the island into Volcar?
No,
you don't really win the game if you do that?
No, you don't really have that much control over the spring. It just happens. It's like a spring trap.
Okay. All right, and so that's available here at the show?
That is available at the show, and then it's rolling into retail
right
now.
Now, speaking of expansions, you've also got the new Downforce maps.
We do. Those are not out yet. We'll be showing the new Downforce
they're demoing
map. We're demoing the new Downforce map. It's a double-sided board, and they each have different powers. And one side is sort of like a Serengeti Plains track, and there's animals on the track, and of course you don't want to hit them.
Right.
So they're moving, and they become sort of these moving obstacles, which create choke points like you get in the game, but usually only for the leader. So the leader goes around the elephant, and then the elephant runs away, and everyone else has a...
Kind of helps you from getting that one person that shoots super far and like, what am I doing here?
It slows them down. So
Gotcha.
It's good.
That's good. I love Downforce. I really liked the new maps.
Yeah.
The one with the loop is my favorite.
Yeah, that's not how people normally build racetracks, but when you're doing a board game, you can do it. And the other one that we're doing is called Aloha Sands, and it's got ramps. And little actual physical cardboard ramps. You fold them and you put them on there, and so you can take the long way where you stay on the ground, but if you can go fast enough, you can jump over some water. It's a little Mario Kart-esque.
Gotcha. So what else have you got?
Well, Unmatched is our big one.
Right,
we're
of course.
Here. That's in partnership with Mondo Games. It's a redo of a game that actually I worked on with Craig Van Ness back in 2002 called Star Wars Epic Duels. Introductory, simple sort of miniatures game. We're doing a 2019 version of it. We have 2 titles that we're launching, 2 SKUs, if I can talk industry term. One is called Battle of Legends. So the whole idea is that it's anyone fights anyone, anywhere. So Battle of Legends is King Arthur versus Sinbad the Sailor versus Medusa versus a sort of steampunk version of Alice in Wonderland.
Nice.
And there's 2 maps on that. Each one comes with a custom deck of 30 cards and a really nice miniature and like a hit point dial. We have a second one, which is a 2-pack, which is Robin Hood versus Bigfoot. So it's like who wins the forest.
All the IPs that are public domain.
We do the public domain stuff. And then Mondo is bringing the licenses to it, and we have Bruce Lee, who's available at the show. He's a standalone, no sidekick because he doesn't need it.
Right.
You can't play. If you buy him, you need another one. He doesn't come with a game board. And then we've announced, but are not available. But we're kind of previewing in places. As we have Jurassic Park.
That's right.
Yeah, we have InGen versus the Velociraptors. Is coming out late this year.
Mm-hmm. But you said here at the show to preview?
Yeah, you can see it. Mondo in their booth has some previews of it. And then we got a T-Rex versus Ellie Sattler next year, and then we have Buffy the Vampire Slayer next year, and we're doing a Victorian set of Dracula and Invisible Man and Jekyll and Hyde and Sherlock Holmes, and mix and match. That you can do Bruce Lee fighting Bigfoot. They all have the same rule set. So
now, how long to play is on average?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay,
one-on-one, it'll be like a 20-minute game.
Quick.
Yeah, maybe the first time you play and you're learning the cards, you're learning the thing, it'll be like 40 minutes. If you play really poorly, 5 minutes.
Gotcha.
But the whole idea that we wanted is just a quick pickup game. Right now it's either 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2. We're working on the free-for-all rules. We can have 3 players or 4 players and everyone to themselves. Those will roll out with a new set when we do it. But yeah, that's gotten a lot of good attention, a lot of good feedback. And our other release at the show is Conspiracy.
Right.
Conspiracy the Solomon Gambit, which is a game. Conspiracy came out in the early 70s, and we've redone it. It's been out a few times. This is much more of a spy vibe. What's really different about this game is there are 6 agents on the board, and you're trying to get the briefcase back to your headquarters. It's very simple. You don't actually control any of the agents on your turn. You can basically try to move one of them, and if no one cares, you'll just do it. But if you might be like, I don't think so. And then we actually figure out who has more money allocated to them. So if I'm like, I'm going to move roulette to Paris. And you're like, I don't think so. I have 3 coins on it. I'm like, I have 4. And you're like, I have 5. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not going to move right now. I may actually have more than 5, but I don't want you to know that.
Right.
But you've given away that you have at least 5. And if it looks like your roulette's in your pocket, no one's going to stop you. Someone might send a different agent to burn them and remove it from the game. And it's just like 40 minutes sort of cat and mouse espionage. Right. Who's really in charge?
Now, can you bluff it all? Like maybe you don't actually have 5 coins on.
You can't lie.
Okay.
But you can stop short. You can't say you have 5 when you have 2.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, no, but and it says in the rules like it's a game about bluffing. It's not a game about lying.
Gotcha.
So if you say you have that much on a person, you have at least that much. But you don't have to say I actually have 15, but I don't want you to know because you'll eliminate her from the game.
Right. Okay. So yeah, it's definitely a poker face type game.
It's a poker face type game. It's a little bit of behind the screens and allocating money. And we changed it. We gave the players, we reduced the number of agents. We gave them some powers. We have a timer in the game, so if you can't get in this sort of endless cat and mouse that goes an hour and a half, right, that sort of thing. And so it comes to a conclusion in about 40 minutes. So we have that out, which we really like. So those are our big new things that we're pushing. We're going to be talking a little bit more about Return to Dark Tower.
That's right. That's the Kickstarter for this year.
Hopefully this year.
Hopefully this year. Okay.
It is a big, ambitious project.
Yeah.
It's got a physical tower, which was supposed to be here right now, but there were thunderstorms in New York yesterday, so it'll be here tonight.
Okay. So we'll be at the show, but
it'll be at the show. It'll be like sort of this cyborg skeleton. Like it doesn't look nice yet, but you'll see how it'll work, and we can start testing it. But we're going to be doing pop-up tests around the show. We're just going to tweet out like, hey, Return to Dark Tower is right here. We have a couple hours. If you want to play a few rounds and help us, we're still designing. We're still developing. We've got some art. We've announced the artists. And we're showing some art of the 4 main characters that are in the game. And so we're starting to be a little more public with what we're doing. We're starting to make it real.
Okay.
It's a little hard to talk about rather than show. And then we have a new game that we're announcing here, which is Key to the Kingdom.
Oh,
It's a game from the 1990s, and it's sort of a fairy tale where you're going around this kingdom. But what made the game unique is that there was this board that was sort of 4-fold out, and it folded in half, but so you play on the back, but there were these holes, these whirlpools in it. If you jumped in a whirlpool, it was a cutout. The board opened up and revealed like another section of the world. And then you might play around in there and then jump back in the whirlpool, and then the board closed. So it's this sort of changing world, and we took that and really amplified it. There's a lot more folding, a lot more going on. I mean, this was a roll and move. I moved 3, nothing happened. I moved 5.
Right.
And I had this sort of elaborate way to adjudicate what happened. Like if you were near the snake pit, you'd actually go to a book and see what happened. And we've sort of modernized a lot of that, but the folding board and everything is still there. And instead of just stealing the key and running away from the Demon King, now you're going to put it into the Demon King once and for all. You're going to get a different key, and you're going to then have the power to challenge the Demon King and finally put the kingdom at rest. That'll be out next year. We don't know exactly when.
Right. Is that going to be a Kickstarter, or is that going to be direct?
That will be direct to retail. That
Gotcha.
Won't be a Kickstarter. The Return to Dark Tower will be our big Kickstarter in the next 12 months. I don't know when it'll be, but we won't do another one after that.
That makes sense, especially it seems like the Return to Dark Tower is definitely one that fits the Kickstarter mold versus the going to retail, because there's a lot more intricate components and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and the development costs are outrageous on them. So
plus, it must help as a publisher, because then we need to at least print this many.
Yes, and it gives us a sense of how many we can print, and allows us to do some interesting things. Like you can do some add-ons or expansions that don't make sense when you put them into retail, but when you go direct to consumer, the price model works out. So we can be like, here's the game that's going to be at retail, and here's some things if you're an early adopter or more hardcore that you can get that we just won't be profitable in retail. We know exactly how many of those to make. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons to do some things on Kickstarter and a lot of reasons to not do it for other games.
But as most of the stuff that you put on Kickstarter does eventually go to retail.
All of our stuff on Kickstarter goes to retail, but not necessarily all of the add-ons and things on Kickstarter go to retail.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. All right. So Restoration Games has made a big deal about restoring old games. So I just want to exercise your brain here a minute. And
so it's early in the show.
Yeah, exactly. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. You're just getting you warmed up.
Yeah.
So basically, what I have here is the 5 most popular HGTV shows. Another network that is all about restoring stuff.
Yeah.
Don't have to know anything about HGTV.
I know it.
Okay, but I have the top 5 games from 2016. I'm just going to read the names out. I want you to tell me, like, real quick, like, how would you turn that into a board game?
The TV show?
The TV show. Like, even based on the name. Even if you don't know anything.
You're going to give me a name from 2016 of a TV show, and I'm going to restore it into a board game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that easy.
Just that easy.
It's that easy.
Right.
I don't know why they don't take a day to make a board game.
So number 1 with 4 million views was a show called Fixer Upper.
Okay.
So how would you turn that into a board game?
I would just give you a prototype and some blank cards. And it would have, like, some of the cards would be filled in.
Right.
And it would have some components and half-finished paths and things like that. And it would be all worn out, and the seams would be split. And there would be some tape in there. And it would be your job to put the physical components of the game back together and fill in the rest of the cards based on what you had there.
And it gives people a hint of this is what prototyping's like.
Yeah. Yeah, you do it.
Yeah. All right. Number 2 with 2.8 million is Flip or Flop.
Flip or Flop. This is a dexterity, skill, and action game where it's going to be kind of like Tiddlywinks, where you're going to be doing things in there, but they're people, and it's a diving event, and you're basically trying to complete the most number of somersaults, but if you land on your back, you do a belly flop, and you fail. Which is really bad because it's 50-50 and you have no control, but that's what I got.
Now, number 3 actually sounds like it could be an unmatched expansion, and that was at 2.6 million, Brother versus Brother.
Brother versus Brother would be sort of a Game of Thrones-esque type of game of political intrigue, because the king is dead and both of the brothers think that they have the right throne. It's a 2-player game. It's highly competitive, and you are both amassing military might and political might and social might in the capital, and you want to be the one to finally claim your throne.
Okay. And then number 4 is Ellen's Design Challenge.
Ellen's Design Challenge is like Fixer Upper, but there's literally nothing in the box but blank cards and some markers, because all of the money went to pay Ellen's royalty for the game. So there's just a picture of her and blank cards and a web
board game development box.
Yeah, and then just like a web address that you take a picture and you upload it to, and Ellen will pick the game that she likes the best, entirely capricious. It's just that kind of play,
nice.
And you'll win $1 million.
That sounds like it. Okay. And then last is Property Brothers.
Property Brothers is a basically prequel to Monopoly.
Gotcha.
Mr. Monopoly actually had 3 or 4 brothers, and this is the gruesome story about how he was the only one left to seize the, economic empire.
Gotcha. It's like a tile place where you build the Monopoly.
Yeah, this is basically how he became the rich person, how he got to have the spats and the car and the top hat and everything like that. It's not a pretty story. It's a story that finally needs to be told.
It's like Monopoly and Game of Thrones put together.
Yeah, basically.
Awesome. Well, you passed there, so thanks for talking to me. And then on Twitter, it's at Restoration Games.
At Restoration Games for Restoration Games. At Rob Daviau if you want to talk to me directly. ROBDAVIAU, because no one can spell it. It's a weird name.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And make sure to stay tuned for other great Gen Con coverage.
See you later.